Looking back at the Galaxy game, anything jump out at you in terms of things you thought you did well or didn't like as much?
Well, we're out here a little bit later than usual because we had a little bit longer film session. The question that I could pose to some of you is, did we play up to our standard? Standard we set is pretty high. Or do you give, in this moment, credit to your opponent? That was the question in the coach's office this morning as we're digesting the film. I would say it was a little bit of both. I don't think there was any consensus for sure. So that's a roundabout way of saying that we could have played a little better. But give credit to Greg, and that's not a bad team. I mean, Chicharito comes back, Djokovic, if they solve that attacking problem, it's defending wise. I don't know if Bond could have done anything different, and Klinsmann, but that's a pretty good team.
Go ahead, staying on that credit part, how much of that second half had to do with Greg Benny adding another forward, freeing his wing backs a lot more? How much of that tactical change had to do with what the second half was like?
Well, that was the interesting one. I mean, I think we didn't play well at all in the second half, and was that because of the second forward? I don't think so. Not the entire time. And we gave some pretty easy balls away. We had some transition moments, and not just the one where, Josh gets in the penalty area, Raul, Jordan and Nico and Jordan pass the ball. I mean, we had some really good transition moments that could have put the game away, which is kind of our style. I think we're a pretty good transition team. I don't know if you guys caught that on the TV feed or not, but the Galaxy were waiting for us on the field coming out of halftime. They were on the field, ready to play. So I don't know what Greg did in the locker room, but his team was out there. They're waiting for the refs and us to come on the field to start the game. So I think there was a little bit of mentality there. I think there was a little bit of a shift, but the second forward, I'm not so sure. I mean, had we cleaned up some of our transition moments, I think we would have caught another goal.
Another moment that's taken a lot of headlines is the new who play. I just wonder if you take on the
I saw his
obviously
thing.
Danny did. Just you take on the whole.
Well, Greg's obviously sticking up for his guys. When players go like this, they're not supposed to make themselves bigger. Yeah, he turned to his side. I mean, VAR can solve a lot of those things, but that is a clear example of there's still a little bit of, ambiguity or whatever you see in that moment. I mean, refs' jobs are hard. Did he make himself bigger? I mean, it was a tough call.
And with that, is that something that you're going to be talking about? Make sure that
No.
that doesn't happen.
No. I mean, the defenders, this you see it all around the world. They go out to block shots because they don't want to go like this.
Mm-hmm.
So Nuhu did the right thing. And, when he turned, his elbow was extended a little bit, but his arms were still in next to his body. It wasn't like, Greg, exaggerated a little bit, but I get it. I get it.
Brian, the balance. Gerald just talked about, hey, at times we need to have possession.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, hey, there's a couple times, paraphrasing, that we didn't fulfill in transition. How do you message that in balance? Is that something that happens again?
Well, we message that all the time. I mean, if you can go directly to goal and score, that's the best option, right? Second best option is you get your team pushed up and you establish possession in their half of the field. And then, another layer to that is, okay, you connect a few passes in your own half, you try something, it doesn't come off. I mean, there's lots of layers to our game, but those decisions those players have to make on the field all the time.
Jackson Reagan, he blocked a lot of shots. Is that something?
Yeah, Ymar came across and blocked a bunch of shots. Everybody was high-fiving each other defensively. I thought that was a gritty very gritty performance to close that game out. I mean, they were on top of us. It's good set piece practice. I mean, how many set pieces did we have to defend? A lot.
Thinking about that duo of Yamar and Jackson, how important do you think they've been in the back line as the two starting center backs this season?
Well, we have talented center backs. You got Jackson, you got Yamar, you got Javi, you got AB. It's a position that we're strong in. So, happy to have them. Happy to have all of them.
Last week you talked about how because of the 4-assist game for Leo Chu and 4-goal for Morris, it was challenging decisions figuring out lineups. Has it become more challenging or less challenging after Leo picks up another goal and assist?
More challenging. But it's a good problem to have. How we line up at home, because look, the 2 games were away from home, and you set your team up sometimes transition moments away from home. So we'll take a look at St. Louis, and we'll devise a game plan. We'll pick the starters.
And early thoughts on St. Louis and how they've done so far this season?
Well, they surprised everybody, even the experts. I don't know where you picked them, but they've surprised a bunch of people. So good for them. Good on them.
What are your thoughts on? There's a lot of nuances that have been about their press and the way they press. Do you feel like there's anything different, particular to the way they do it? They just do it well.
Coach comes from a certain style of play that they go throughout their organization, and that's what he wants to do, and they have the team to do it. Let's see, MLS is a long season. You give credit where credit's due. I mean, they've terrific start for an expansion team. So kudos to them.
Steph has talked about how he feels stronger than maybe he's ever felt. What have you made of his season, and particularly his passing this year?
His passing?
Yeah.
So strength and passing.
Well, because he thinks he's kicking. He's
Kicking it longer.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Decision making, not that type of passing.
Right.
Well.
And accuracy.
Accuracy, yeah. I mean, look, we have messaged a little bit that we can play long in certain moments, and certainly, he does a good job at it. Collecting second balls, trying to win games, not take too many risks. We found that out a hard way against Cincinnati. So, Steph feeling good. It's early in the year. He had a good off-season program. I can't say enough good things about Steph. I mean, he's a consummate pro. That's why he feels good and strong. Works every day. I mean, we've taken a little bit of load off at times, different training sessions, just because he is a little older, but he keeps working.
Thinking about Jackson Reagan specifically, how do you think he's impacted the team's success this season?
Same as a lot of other guys. I mean, he's done well. We haven't let in many goals this year. It's part of a strong defensive unit. So I would overall give him a passing grade.
Looking ahead to this weekend, how do you feel knowing this upcoming match will determine who will take the first place spot in the West?
It's another game. It certainly adds a little bit of spice for you guys to write about, but it's another home game. We want to make sure that Lumen Field is a hard place to play. And I have confidence that if our team plays up to our potential, chances are we'll come out with a good result.
Brian, is this the best you've seen Nico? I know this is a loaded question, just in terms of his reading the game and distribution, because
You're talking about the assist on Chu to get Chu behind in Jordan's first goal.
absolutely.
And Nico's made that pass ever since his time here. I mean, Nico's the same as Steph. I mean, they're experienced players. They're good captains. Nico makes plays. I think he's had a good start to the year for sure.
Defensively, looks like
He's always been good. He always puts in a lot of miles. He always chases, tracks down. It's always been one of his strengths.
What were your thoughts finally on that Alex and Christian Roldan playing in the right and left back position? And what does that give you just in the future? Because look at it here?
Yeah, I don't know if Alex was as comfortable there. Look, my expectations there were within, knowing that he hasn't played there a lot, my expectations were not that high. I always know that he's going to give you the technical piece. Alex is a very technical player. He found some passes. He put Jordan in behind with his right foot a couple times. But as far as him getting used to switching his body around from the right to left, I thought there were some moments where, he struggled a little bit. But, it's nice to have that flexibility. Just like they drew it up in their backyard. Growing up.
I was gonna say, on that same token, it seems like the need for a strong left-footed player in this current system is not quite as imperative as from your left back position. Is it?
Yeah.
And does that give you some more flexibility as to who can potentially back up Nuhu there?
Yeah. I think you're spot on. I think, again, you open yourself up to the field with your right foot a little bit. You can find diagonal passes. I think that helps. But, look, guys get used to playing on one side or the other. You see a lot of, right-footed, left-sided center backs. You don't see a lot of left-footed, right-sided center backs. There's been players throughout the years that have played left back that have been right-footed. Normally you see that in the winger position where you have inverted wingers. They come in on a strong foot. So it's all relevant.